So most Arab states seem to be neutral. Why do you suppose that is? Well, no one likes war, especially if you're focused on the economy, but there may be another reason. You see, all the Arab nations in the Gulf have something in common. They've all partnered up with the US for security. And all the petrodollars, no doubt. These partnerships have allowed the US to build bases all over the place and station thousands of troops in the region. As we speak, the Americans have more than 43,000 boots on the ground. And more soldiers are on the way. Where are they headed? Well, here's a map of the region. And these are the American military sites in the area. There are a lot, both permanent bases and makeshift sites. The smaller sites are all over the place, even in Arab nations which are sympathetic to Iran. Countries like Iraq and Syria. The Americans have bases there too. Then there are bases in Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt and Oman. As you can see, the US has troops practically everywhere. Troops, jets, drones, ships, you name it. It seems every Arab country has made some deal or the other with the Americans. The largest concentration of bases is in Kuwait. There are 5 bases there. And about 13,500 permanently deployed troops, mostly at Camp Arif Jan and the Ali Al Salam Air Base. Those were the numbers from 2021, before the latest conflict, so expect additional deployments right now. Now, Kuwait is at Iran's doorstep. That is why it makes sense for the Americans to boost their presence there. You also have other major US bases in Bahrain, Qatar and the UAE. Again, these are long-term installations, making them ideal for an additional influx of troops. Another major base is in Djibouti in Africa, at the tip of the Red Sea, right across from Yemen, which is where the Iran-backed Houthi group is based, in Yemen. We told you that the Houthis plan to step up their attacks on global shipping. Well, the US is prepared. Not just with that base in Djibouti, but also additional naval deployments. The US already had ships in the Red Sea to deter the Houthis. Now it has sent 4 more, 4 guided missile destroyers to augment its presence. The Americans also have ships in the eastern Mediterranean Sea. This is near Israel's coast, which means near both Gaza and Lebanon. You may have heard the term gunboat diplomacy. It's when countries send both diplomats and warships to another nation, just in case negotiations fail. The US was famous for this back in the day, and it seems old habits die hard. The US currently has 3 guided missile destroyers and 1 amphibious assault ship in the Mediterranean, and they're sending one of their aircraft carriers as well. The USS Harry S. Truman is on its way to West Asia. It is traveling with a strike group. This means more destroyers, more carriers, and more frigates, all making their way to a volatile region. The Americans already have 1 aircraft carrier in the region. It's called the USS Abraham Lincoln. It's said to be operating in the Gulf of Oman, breathing down Iran's neck. So the second carrier will probably be deployed in another region. As you can see from the map, America has all of West Asia covered to make sure that nothing happens to Israel. But that's just the US. What about the rest? Well, no one compares to the Americans, but the UK is also ramping up its presence. Britain has bases in Cyprus, and it has deployed 700 additional troops there, joining the 500 they had deployed earlier this summer. The UK also has ships patrolling the eastern Mediterranean to fight the Houthis and to help with evacuations if it comes to that. Now, amid all of this, India has sent ships to the region as well, but for a very different reason. 3 Indian ships have docked at the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas: the INS Tir, INS Shardul and ICGS Veera. These ships are in Iran for training exercises. The Indian ships arrived in Iran on Tuesday, hours after Iran fired missiles at Israel. Talk about awkward timing, but the Indian ships are there now, and they will go ahead with a scheduled training exercise, thus adding to the deployments in the region. So that's how things stand right now. As you can see, West Asia is a powder keg. The next strong move can set it off. Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
First Post decodes the U.S. election. Explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on First Post.